Nice. And we're off, I do believe. It is 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. It's Wednesday, May 1st, AD 2024. And tomorrow is the Men's Forum, guys. First Thursday of the month, 7 p.m. at Bond in Los Angeles. And I'm going to be talking about how they're pushing cancer. It's cancer culture, not cancel culture. Cancer culture. Terrible. We'll be taking your calls, though, guys. 1-888-775-3773 if you'd like to call in. And your super chats. Some of them have already come in, guys. And, of course, I do have some stories to touch on. Cackling Kamala Harris went down to Florida to push abortion. Because Florida is not for that stuff. Florida is not for it. They don't like that. And good for them, I say. You know what I mean? They want a 6-week abortion ban. Let them. It seems fine with me. But they love abortion so much that they are making a campaign issue out of it. And to me, that is shows you how much Obama, Biden, Kamala Harris, and the whole rest of them love abortion. And that's not very alpha jerky of them. Not very alpha jerky. I bought my new alpha jerky round. And so watch out, Kevin Howe. You think your shoulders and chest are broader and bigger than mine? Shoot. What else? There's this cancer patient who won the lottery. I mentioned that in Hake News. And he's still maybe dying, not sure, but his family will have money, and so that's supposedly a good life, he thinks. He's Laotian. Laotian. The government is for pot. The government is your enemy. Potheads, flat earthers. Oh, I don't have to tell the flat earthers that, but the flat earthers, I don't know. What a mess. And the real paleo diet had more vegetables in it than you may have realized. The paleolithic, supposed Stone Age diet, they call it. They were eating vegetables back in the day, they say. So, eat that, carnivores. But shout out to the carnivores. So anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I got my Henley on today. I learned the word Henley, the name Henley for my t-shirts from Hassan, the engineer for the Hake Report. The man who makes it happen. He shows you the pictures and stuff and zooms in and things. Nice. That means it has buttons. It's almost a proper shirt rather than just a regular t-shirt. So, nice. Sweet. How you guys doing? I already asked you that. Shout out to the Rumble crew. I am live on Rumble, I do believe, anyway. Let's see. Yes. A shout out to the Facebook crew, the faithful few. I don't see anybody there. That's okay. And, of course, the X people. There's always at least one person watching on X. So, okay. Let's talk about evil cackling Kamala Harris. She's evil. She's phony. And she's pretty. According to... the reason I say she's pretty is because that's what Obama called her. He didn't even say that. He said that she's the most attractive attorney general or something like that. Did you know that in California, she was the top cop? How embarrassing for California. How far California has fallen. She loves abortion. I read in Hake News at the end of hour 1 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show today that Commie Nonsense Network, CNN, wrote, a controversial, which means halfway reasonable, in the right direction. That's what controversial means, okay? Law has gone into effect in Florida. You know what I mean? And that is that abortion is outlawed after 6 weeks. Can you believe it? 6 weeks. Some people don't even know they're pregnant after like several months. Or is that fake news? I don't know. It used to be 15 weeks before some people even know they're pregnant. And now they're saying 6 weeks. That's fast. To me, I don't think you should be having it at all. I don't even think that I believe in the quote-unquote morning after pill. Is that an abortion pill, or is that a contraceptive because you actually conceive sometime later after having the S word? I don't understand it. But the point is, you're playing God after and trying to duck responsibility for your actions. Women complain about men not being responsible. Women don't want to be responsible. Psh. And I get that men sleep around more because they get away with it. Their bodies get away with it physically more, I guess. In other words, the women resent nature, hate nature, and nature's God. That's a line that I got from, I think, one of the founders wrote something like that, right? In the Declaration of Independence, nature and nature's God, right? So anyway, and I don't know, because these are lamos who are making these laws. Anybody, even an atheist, can be pro-life against abortion, you know? It doesn't take a Christian or a religious person not to be for killing unborn babies. It's an unborn baby. You don't kill a baby just because it's not born. What sense does that make? Oh, yeah, a woman has to suffer until it's born, and sometimes after, and sometimes dies and stuff. I get that. But it doesn't mean you leave it to the woman's decision. You stress women out giving them decisions. They're more stressed out than ever. You know what I mean? Jelly bean? Controversial abortion law went into effect at midnight, dropping the state's 15-week ban to a 6-week ban, and they call her Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, Hake, that's what she is. Vice President in name only. Her name is Cackling Kamala Harris. Vice President. They try to throw it in our faces. That's how I read it. You're trying to throw it in our faces that she's the so-called Vice President. What an embarrassment to the country to have this. It's one thing if it were Sarah Palin Vice President. A lot of the liberals and many of the so-called conservatives would be embarrassed to have Sarah Palin for Vice President. Had lame John McCain won against Obama. Sarah Palin, the female governess of Alaska back in the day, picked for VP. Oh, he picked a woman. But she agreed with us Tea Party people. Sort of a conservative gal. That wouldn't have been so bad because at least she's for some of the right things. But her life is kind of a mess. Her family's kind of a mess. And she's kind of a mess, I guess. Pretty, though. Prettier than Kamala Harris, too, by the way. And she's white, unlike Kamala Harris, who's foreign. She's Jamaican and Indian. But she's kind of light-skinned. So how did she come out sort of light-skinned, Kamala Harris? Because Jamaicans are pretty dark, and Indians are pretty dark, right? So I guess they're mixed. They're mixed too, all of them. She's headed to the state of Florida to speak about so-called reproductive rights. No such thing. We've been over this. They're not for reproductive rights. If they were for reproductive rights, they would be for the right to men to have their children. And not have the woman adopt the child away, such as Utah does, so-called Christian Mormon Utah, or kill the baby away without the father's permission. Yes, that's right. Women do the abortion without the father's consent or permission or even him wanting them to do it. I get that some beta so-called fathers want them to kill the baby. They're not thinking about stuff or they don't care. But a lot of times they don't want that. Where's the rights for his reproduction? No rights. Just the woman is the god of the evil people. I decide who lives or dies. There's an uptick in restrictions adopted by the states across the country. And so cackling Kamala Harris, very pro-abortion. She knows how degenerate the people are who support abortion are and who support her are. So she's catering to the base, the pro-abortion base, just like evil Obama, who was very, very, very pro-abortion. He's like, if my daughters make a mistake, meaning have the S word out of wedlock, I don't want them punished with a baby. And everything that he did was to open things up for people to have abortion and even subsidize it. And also subsidize people having the S word out of wedlock and not having consequences. Not having to have the baby, because he hates babies so much that he doesn't even want them getting pregnant. And he supported the LGBT stuff. He supported everything destructive to human beings' lives. What a sick person, huh? And yet he pretended like he was for so-called health care. He got kind of in trouble for calling her the most attractive, Obama, the most attractive attorney general in the United States. Can you believe it? She was so-called attorney general, and then she became senator for California. A senator? What sense does that make? And now she's vice president. And nobody liked her when she was running for president. Phony gal. Kamala only speaks word salad. I personally like when she speaks very simply. She's like, okay, Ukraine is a country. Now, that's up for debate. I'm kidding. I don't know anything about anything. I know nothing about everything. And Russia invaded that country. If I had a son, he would look like Trayvon, but I don't care because we aborted him. That's fake news. Well, we don't know. Let me get to a call or two here, guys, before I get into other things going on in the world. Mark in Los Angeles, California is on the line. Mark, thank you for calling. How you doing, man?
Very good. Thanks for taking my call, Hake.
Yeah.
I got a couple quick things. First of all, I don't know if you even heard about this. It happened either yesterday or the day before. 4 male blacks were being pursued by police in a high-speed chase. Don't know exactly where it happened. I heard it on one of your competitors' channels today. And the 4 of them, the policeman used a maneuver to get them to stop. What had happened was they lost control of the car, hit a tree, wrapped the tree around the car, and all 4 of them were brought to justice. They all died. And I think the audience should know that 2 of the 4 had ankle bracelets. They were on probation with ankle bracelets. They weren't supposed to be out, but they're, the criminality is in the blood. And all 4 of them had juvenile records, extended criminal records, and yet they were allowed to walk free. Now, I guess my question is to you, had you heard about that at all?
No, but I looked it up as you were speaking, and Fox8Live.com reads, 4 teenagers die in high-speed chase after trooper uses PIT maneuver, P-I-T maneuver. That's where they kind of go into the back tire or something and make it spin out. And so, yeah, it wrapped around what looks like a light pole, actually, rather than a tree. But, yeah, grief counselors were at Newberry High School in Florida all week after several teenagers, by several, I guess they mean 4, teens, were killed in a crash during a chase involving state troopers in Bradford County. Between 14 and 16 years old, they died after they were involved in the wreck in the Waldo area street last Saturday. Reported April 27th, which would have been not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, wild, crazy stuff.
Well, they cover it up. It's one thing for what they did, which was evil, but the media cover-up, I mean, I know I found out through a podcast or a
Oh, yeah,
YouTube
the
person.
SUV was stolen. You're right. So they were driving an SUV. Those things flip more easily, I hear.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if what you read told the public that they had a couple of them had ankle bracelets on. And all four of them had previous records.
Oh, yeah. At the very last line of this article, it says, authorities said 2 of the teenagers in the SUV were wearing ankle monitors and 3 had active warrants. Ages 14 to 16. Oh, they're just children. They're children. That's why I kind of scoff at the Palestinians being called children. Now, I get that they're young, and I get that there are children too, but they use the term children very loosely. They're little thugs. They're little criminals. But anyway.
I agree.
But
now the other thing I wanted to bring up real
before
quick
you get to that,
on
is this a different related to a different story, right?
Yes.
On this story, you said that it's in their blood. You mean that it's literally in? You mean to believe that it's literally in the blood of these guys to be criminal?
Well, I'll say this. I can't prove it, but 13% of the population is committing 50% of the violent crimes. It's either in the blood or they're just born bad. I mean, I don't know how you could explain this, how you or anybody could explain this criminality among youth this way.
Yeah. I don't know. I myself have speculated about the testosterone. So I don't know, but I do know that you don't want to underestimate a whole culture that has embraced and been encouraged to embrace anger and this false idea of racism and messed up families, single mothers and angry single mothers at that. So we've by we, not you and I, but the country has created a monster. Like, I get that even back in the day, they were more criminal per capita than the whites, even during maybe the slave days and just after slavery. But I think that it increased more with this out-of-wedlock stuff and with the promotion of this fake idea of racism, civil rights and all that.
I think in my lifetime, in my experience, I think the Civil Rights Bill of 64 is when everything started going downhill.
Yeah.
It was unconstitutional, and it was broken just a few years after it was signed in 1964 when they started affirmative action. Because even with the Civil Rights Bill passing, they couldn't make the grade for certain jobs. So they had to violate the Civil Rights Bill and start affirmative action.
Yeah.
So what do we do with them? You know, is really it's like we got a tiger by the tail. We can't hold on and we can't let go.
I know.
And that's the problem we have.
It's sort of the setup, and that's probably partly why they said that slavery was an evil, because now we have to deal with these people. That's why a lot of the people back in the day wanted to send them back to Africa or encourage them to go back to Africa.
Well, actually, there was a senator. He was my favorite. Back in the 40s, Senator Theodore J. Bilbo. Theodore, I don't know his middle name, Theodore Bilbo. He actually presented legislation to send them back. But you know who the president was, Roosevelt. And he didn't, because of his
FDR,
wife.
FDR, not Teddy Roosevelt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
FDR and his commie wife, you know, they wouldn't have anything to do with that. But it's been, you know, that's when the country was 90% white and we had hope. Now there's no hope. I've heard that we're only 58% of the U.S. population now, and with all these criminals crossing our border and being flown in, that number may go down below 50 before this thing in the White House is gone.
Well, for sure it will. I say for sure it will, even though I don't know the future, because if you look at it, the white population is older. The younger white population is already a minority. If you're under 21 and you're white, you're already a minority among your cohort.
And remember, there are no black-dominated nations anywhere on Earth where white people are a minority, where they're treated fairly. Nowhere on Earth. And when I debated that dope, your former co-host or president, whatever he was, he couldn't name one either. He's supposed to be this intellectual, but he couldn't name a country where there's a white minority.
He mentioned some of the Caribbean islands.
Oh, you mean like Haiti, where they killed every white man, woman, and child?
Well, Dominican Republic is better than Haiti. Come on, you're picking like the worst of the Caribbean.
Well, okay, what's the country where the blacks dominate?
I don't know.
Where whites are treated fairly?
I don't know.
He made he mentioned a name that nobody ever heard of.
Yeah.
But it's true. Whenever we become a minority, look at South Africa, look at Rhodesia. That's our future. I hate to say that.
So let's get to your other. You wanted to bring up.
Sure. You on the Harvey Weinstein situation.
Yeah.
Although his conviction was overturned.
Yeah.
He's not out of jail. I think he went to the hospital or something. But he's still got another couple of charges here in L.A.
Yeah, the Los Angeles convictions were not overturned. Now, do you think about L.A. and New York? Those are some of the most corrupt places with the least trustworthy population to choose from to get a jury that's going to be fair-minded and stuff like that. So I don't really trust. I don't necessarily trust a conviction nor an exoneration in such a court as Los Angeles or New York, or really anywhere in America. But like Washington, D.C., New York, Atlanta, Georgia, these places are corrupt. And so I just see that I agree with you that Harvey Weinstein is evil, very unchristian. Maybe he was pretty talented at getting good movies out. I'm not sure. I heard that. But I don't think that I don't see how he R-worded. And you pointed out that it was white women and Gentile women whom he was most attracted to. And that is dirty, it's vulgar, it's perverted, if that's true, that he was sleeping around like that or whatever. But I don't see how that's R-word. I get that people get groomed and stuff like that, but that's their fault for being seduced by the seduction of Hollywood. Shame on them. You know what I mean?
If you have sex, if you're an adult and you have sex with a minor,
right,
it's automatically rape, whether she can
statutory rape. Yeah.
Right. So, and again, I don't know the evidence against Weinstein, but these liberal juries convicted him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he had to have done. They must have had something on him, and so I'm not sad that he's going to be maybe spending the rest of his life in jail. That doesn't bother me at all. He was evil, and he had actual. And I again can't prove it, but there's pictures of Oprah Winfrey presenting him with young women.
Right,
So
but that's yeah. I heard you on American Anchor, baby, acting like she was a pimp for him. But that's like, oh, meet this, meet that. But that's like at a party or whatever. They're all meeting together. I don't know.
Well, I think the way it may have worked, and I'm speculating. I don't
want to get into speculation.
Sure. Well, I mean, these girls probably wanted to be superstars, or movie stars. And,
shame on them.
And they were right. Well, and then maybe Oprah said, "Well, come on, I'll introduce you to this guy." And and that may have been what happened. I can't imagine any other scenario. But again, the jury had the evidence.
But the jury was deadlocked. Mike Cernovich, who may or may not be Christian, I don't know, but he's like a pretty fair-minded, center-left, center-right, pro-America type of a guy, and he's not a pro-Weinstein guy, and he's not for that stuff. But he said that he wasn't guilty based on the stuff that he was reading on the what was going on in the court documents, that he wasn't guilty of these major crimes that they were accusing him of.
How many charges have they put on him? And how many courts?
I don't know. When it rains, it pours. When there is a trendy thing such as the Me Too movement, which I know you're not for,
No.
that was that. There's a trendy attack on a man. Look at all weren't there a bunch of accusations against Trump when he was running for office? So it's like all these devils trying to get the guy who's the new target for the demons to turn on. And sometimes the demons turn on one another, which I think is what happened with Weinstein.
Well, I think in Trump's case, they're making a federal case out of a hush money deal, and hush money is not illegal.
It's extortion. Really, he's the victim of a crime, really.
Absolutely. And that other so-called sexual assault with E. Jean Carroll,
yeah,
that was just look at her and look at Melania.
I know.
It's so crazy. They can get a jury to convict anybody if you're a white Christian in New York or any of these other places. If you're conservative,
yeah,
and especially if you're Trump, you've got a target on your back.
Yeah.
So, but that's all I got for you today.
Well, I appreciate your call, man. Good to hear from you, Mark, in Los Angeles. Take care, man.
Thank you. God bless. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Do I need to... Lin Yen Chin wants me to not unmod him in the chat. Let me read some super chats. Lin Yen Chin gave me some super chats earlier this morning. Lord Goodhair, you misunderstand. I can smell a vaxxer's miasma. Miasma, nice word. Or miasma. From well beyond arm's reach. About 20 steps away for the freshly boosted... Look up miasma. Miasma. I think it's miasma, but I like miasma. Sheer hellish miasma. That's like a noise album, right? Noun or plural, blah, 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 blah. Highly unpleasant or unhealthy smell or vapor. Stink, reek, stench, smell, odor, malodor. Woof. Sheer hellish miasma. Kevin Drum. Okay. Anyway, that's unrelated to Lin Yen Chin. His comment. 20 steps away for the freshly boosted, 3 steps for the non-booster types that still had 2 or 3 shots. Few need to be in my face for me to detect it. Wow. Lin Yen Chin. So he can smell you if you smell schmaxed. I can smell you from 20 feet away. You freshly smaxed? Imagine that. This little, by little I mean like wiry, fit, Jamaican Chinese man named Lin Yen Chin being like, you smell vaxxed. Nice. Modified breath flow. He continues with a new super chat. Is how I resist the persistent stench pouring out of vaxxers. Otherwise, I can't take public transit. Or walking through a crowd at least 9 out of 10 times. I don't need to be in arm's reach to know who is injected and has the devil gene active. Are you serious? Lin Yen Chin? That's amusing. Gregatron. What's up, Gregatron? Donated on Streamlabs. What do you mean when you say split your infinitive? I was always good at English, but I was never taught that in school. What's the difference between to not and not to? Okay, so to be verbs, those are infinitives. To run, to conduct the show, to have a chance, to be. In Spanish, it's estar or ser, right? Or whatever verb, ending in er, ar, ir, whatever. And when you split your infinitive, you put a word in between the to and the verb. To go nowhere where no man has gone before. Star Trek, evil, unchristian probably, Star Trek they split the infinitive and put to boldly go. No, 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 no. It's boldly to go or to go boldly. Or to not. No, you say not to or to, listen, to be or not to be. It's not to be or to not be. It's to be or not to be. That's what split your infinitive is, Gregatron. This is the most animated I've been all show. And I'm talking about English. I sort of learned it from this home Christian movie called Split Infinity. But yeah, it's split your infinitive is. An infinitive is basically a verb in its natural form that's not conjugated. Nice. Lin Yen Chin with another super chat. Mark is right. It is in our blood. I, too, have the Dane genetic impulses, but don't act on it because I have awakened Meyer sapience. That is typical of my kin. It's also why we can't enunciate correctly. He isn't wrong about us. Now, I get that. I get that there may be maybe like a genetic component. Kevin Howe says it's spiritual, and by spiritual he means it's in the years of evolution or whatever, whatever if you believe in evolution or not. You know, as to the black violence. And maybe it was always like a bit higher, even when blacks did have their families and they were working and they weren't blaming. It was still higher, maybe. But it is exponentially more. You have like no anger infects the mind, and this is how it comes out in them. Anger infects the white mind, and the whites come out either sometimes violent, but oftentimes like scared and overly nice or whatever. So I get that the anger in different peoples may produce different symptoms. The Asians start squatting and smoking all the time. Cigarettes. It could be. I don't really have a dog in the fight. I don't think that it's bad to say stuff like that. I will get to the coffees later, but there's a couple of calls I would like to get to first and more stories. Frederick, RICKA, I call him sometimes, for short, is from Los Angeles, California. Frederick, how are you doing, man?
Good morning, Hank.
Morning.
How you doing?
Doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing all right, I'm about to go down here. They called me for negotiations at UCLA. You heard about that?
Who's they? Not to dox, but who's they?
The Palestinians, the ones that took over the campus. They got to negotiate with the police about bringing down this. I got my drone down here. It's going down. You ain't heard about this?
You know, I had heard that violence.
The protesters took over the campus, and we got a big old compound boarded up where they can't get in. We ain't letting the students go. They ain't letting the students go to class. Let me correct myself.
Yeah, because you sound like you're one of them. You sound like you're.
Hey, I'm just collecting the footage. But I did put up a sign that said we'll take reparations for no ceasefire. So I don't know. That sign might get some traction, hopefully.
That's funny, man.
I'll let Benjamin keep on blowing them up for reparations, but I don't know if anybody else got any ideas over there.
That's why I knew I liked you for a reason. Shameless selfishness.
But you're conflicted. You don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, true. I don't. Well, partly because I don't really care. I'm not for reps, obviously. I'm not for reparations. I think you guys owe us.
I know, but you're for Israel, so you're torn.
I like Bibi. I don't necessarily like, because there's a whole lot of liberals in Israel. And they're, so I like Bibi, Netanyahu, and yeah, maybe he's...
How you gonna like one president and not the whole country? Everybody else can go, huh?
Well, it's kind of like I like America and I like Trump, but I don't like...
I'm just saying, you want to bring Bibi over here and let them have Israel, huh?
Yeah, Bibi...
Come on to America, Bibi.
Bibi, Nick Fuentes, 2028. Let's make it happen.
Oh,
do you think they would serve together?
Probably. I wouldn't think it'd be him. It'd be him and Trump. He'll be Trump's vice president.
Yeah.
In November if he can get over here fast enough.
So really, are you literally being like a negotiator, like between these people? Like
Oh yeah.
the Palestinian people, the Palestinian protesters, they know you and so they trust
I
you?
got my email. I got my drone website on my drone, and then they watching the police. I'm helping them see
Oh,
what the
okay.
police are, where they're plotting up, so they can see a surveillance of what's going on. Because they're inside of a compound. They got
Isn't
it all
it-
boarded up.
Isn't
They
it,
can't actually see.
doesn't it seem
smoke
so,
grenades coming?
doesn't these college protests seem like so self-important, trying to make a difference in the world, but you're at a college campus?
They are the future. I believe the children are the future.
That's
Keep them little.
now you're just
Let
buttering
them
them
lead
up.
the way.
You're like one of the older people like me buttering up, except I'm not buttering up the college students. You're buttering up the college students as if they're important, and they're not. They're just
They
dumb.
are. They are future judges and prosecutors. And if you become friends with them now, hey, you're going to have an easy life in the future.
Okay, well that's very
Hey, I'm telling you,
interesting.
that's
Well,
how
you're
it goes.
maybe you're smarter than me. You're more clever than I
Hey,
am.
I'm telling you.
It
you
is
gonna
good
get
to
them
do-
now, they're going to come snatch your Medicare when you get 70. They're going to say,
Hey,
yeah, I
hey,
remember you.
The
Trump
Bible
card.
says, get along well with everyone as far as it depends on you. So I'm with you on that. You are a biblical Christian man.
I'm not a Christian. I'm a Pharaoh. But, hey, that's a more pure form of a Christian because they plagiarize some of what, you know what I'm saying? We talk to Christians, the Catholics, the Greeks. You know what I'm saying? It's just go returning to the Father like I want everybody to do. The beginning, the Son. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Y'all wake up eventually and y'all have joy like me. My last name starts with joy.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
you just
that is
doxed
nice.
yourself, buddy. Don't be doxing yourself.
Hey, I ain't doxing myself.
Okay.
I'm an open book, Hake. When you're as of God, nobody can do nothing to you, man. I'm an open book.
Well,
I
thank
don't
you
got
for
no
the.
secrets,
So
no
my
skeletons.
opinion on the protests is that they're dumb. They don't know what they're doing. They're only hurting themselves. They're wasting their
First you
time,
said you don't
thinking they're
care
so
either way.
important. They don't have a clue what's going on, and they're on the wrong side. And they shouldn't even be picking a side, honestly.
Okay. I like it.
Thanks.
But if we go to war,
Yeah.
the politicians going to pick a side, and then we're going to be like, we didn't even warn the politicians not to pick a side.
Yeah.
But we
right.
got to warn the politicians not to pick a side. They're
That's
the
why-
ones who's picking a side matters.
That's why
And
we
we've
should
been picking
be.
a side a long time.
That's why we should be for a man of peace, such as Trump.
He moved the embassy to Jerusalem. I'm getting off of here. All right.
One state solution. The embassy in Jerusalem is not going to cause a war unless the dumb, angry people don't shape up. But Trump knows how to make the dumb, angry people shape up.
All right. They just. I told Nick yesterday. They just emotionally abusing themselves. They're not angry. It's on them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them.
You're talking about the
think they're wrong.
protesters emotionally
Anybody
abusing
that makes
themselves?
themselves mad and have anger, they emotionally abuse themselves.
Right.
Because they don't like somebody else having a platform higher, them being right, having a louder voice. Something makes them angry within. So they emotionally abuse themselves. That's why I call in to let these
Wait,
people
who are you
emotionally
referring
abuse
to?
themselves.
Who is emotionally?
Anger. Anybody that has anger is emotionally abusing themselves, but because of somebody else's actions.
I'm with you on that.
Somebody else's actions make you emotionally abuse yourself, and then you have anger. That's where anger comes from. You getting emotionally abusing yourself by the way somebody else acts.
Yeah.
So don't let me act up on here and let y'all see that y'all need to work on yourself. Put them demon horns away and just be of love. That's all I'm saying.
Nice. Thank you for the little drip of wisdom in the madness, Frederick.
That's right. It's just all love, man. Y'all, like, I don't know. People, it's like everybody worried about everybody else. All these little dog whistles, and they trying to bring an uprising and an awakening or something. And the more you try to wake it up, the more people fall asleep. And like, oh, they crying over there. And,
True.
But that little circle thinking, we need to unite more people. Yeah, we over here. They doing it at USC. They doing it on the East Coast. I think it's like 4 different colleges right now.
Ridiculous.
Protesting and having problems. Students getting locked up all over the United States. So
Yeah,
we're gonna
that's
see how it turns out.
you know how I always say that the establishment is on the side of the liberal protesters, Antifa, and all that. That doesn't mean that if you are Antifa or you're Black Lives Matter or you're a pro-Palestinian protester or anti-Trump or whatever, if you do something that's breaking the law or whatever and they catch you, or you do
Going to
something
jail.
that they don't like, you a little bit too independent thinking, then they're going to come down hard on you. Because I read about these masked protesters. There were protesters at Charlottesville in the 2017 Unite the Right Charlottesville riot. The left-wingers, the Antifa people who are masked up, some of them caught charges. And I don't know if maybe they got light sentences or maybe they got off, but it's not just the people who are on the side of decency who are catching the bad side of the law. It's also the people who are on the side of evil, like the liberals are. So it's a warning to my liberal listeners too.
You got the right to protest. You just can't break the law.
Yeah, and I would stay away from the protests anyways, because.
But no, that's how you change America, baby.
I don't think that you change America through protesting. I think they only
how
change.
much white guilt was created through protesting? Black Lives Matter and Mike, all of this.
Protests.
White guilt at an extreme numbers. Like white people feel like a movement of spirituality.
How did the media
and join a march?
Hey.
Before they know it, they 3 blocks away from their home. And
Let me explain to you. Let me explain to you this white guilt thing and the protests, because the protests alone, if you protest for what's right and the media and the government and the establishment is not on your side to promote and propagandize your protest as being something valid, then your protest is not going to change America. The America was already changed, and so these protests were the excuse. Oh, look at all these dumb, useful idiots, crowds. Let's follow the crowd and do what the crowd wants.
Let's stay on topic.
No, I didn't change the topic. The topic is that America was already changed at heart. The establishment. Hey, man, I'm talking. The establishment was already on the side of the so-called the civil rights movement. The media was already casting them as these dogs and these what are those called? Fire hoses,
and their
water hoses
got them what?
Are so bad. Oh, we need to feel bad for them. So they traumatized the dumb boomers to believe that was injustice against the blacks, when in reality...
Yeah, I'm about to emotionally make you abuse yourself. Now, look, when you say people get locked up down there at them protests, protesting make philanthropists bail you out of jail. You seen how they was bailing them Black Lives Matter people out of jail?
Yeah.
So, therefore, protests work, and you won't go to jail when you hang around.
Protests don't work if you're a conservative. Protests don't work if you're for what's right.
White guilt. No, listen, white conservatives don't like to spend their money. They ain't gonna bail out no.
How did the Tea Party? The Tea Party didn't change America. January 6th. January 6th. Hey. January 6th protest. January 6th protest. The Stop the Steal rallies. Those did not change America except for the worse.
What about Obama?
It got worse for us.
What about Obama? You think protests got Obama in office?
I have no idea what you're talking about. How would?
Yeah, I have no idea. Yes, white guilt to the point that a black man.
I know that's what I told you. Protests only work if you're evil.
Protests are stupid. No,
they are stupid.
Got a black man in office for 2 terms,
and that was one of the stupidest thing. That's one of the stupidest things America has done.
But you said that either it don't work or you can see the possibility of how great protesting can do. Come on, you can't be on both sides of the fence.
My point is,
president.
How's this?
You don't have a point. I'm defeating your point.
No, I'm making a point. I'm making a point.
Let's hear another one.
Protests only work as a tool for evil.
Whatever. God's plan ain't evil, baby.
Boom.
God's plan ain't evil. Boom! We out of here.
All right. Good to talk to you, I guess.
All right. I'm going to get this negotiation.
There goes that wisdom that he had.
Watch the news I'm gonna be at the negotiation table at UCLA at 12 noon.
Oh Lord, you're just all about promoting yourself.
Reparations, baby.
All right.
I'm getting these college students on it. We need to fund America first, and that's the only thing gonna boost our economy.
Adios, man. Peace.
Let's go.
Bye. Take care. David in Ocala, Florida. David, are you a Christian or are you part Jewish? Your name is David. Are you Is that a Christian David name or is that a Jewish David name? I'm curious now.
No, I'm a Christian David.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, my father named me that.
It's a nice name. My best
nothing.
friend growing up, his name was David.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Well, I was calling about those kids, that got killed in Newberry right up the road, the football players.
Oh, they were football players, figures.
Yeah,
football players.
Yeah, one of them was a star player, it says.
Wow.
Yeah, his brother got killed, shot and killed before, and a little while ago. But I don't know, he got killed last month.
Really?
But listen to what this mayor writes. It's concerning when you have so many deaths back to back, but all we can do as a community is wrap our arms around each other, love each other, ask ourselves what we need to be doing, and then do it. I mean, these people are crazy. Okay. I mean,
yeah.
That's just that shows you how them Democrats think.
That's that mama spirit. Oh, we did not.
Yeah.
We did not mama love them enough. That's the mayor. The mayor of Newberry.
Yeah, the mayor of Newberry.
A woman.
His name's Jordan Marlowe. I don't know what if he's black or what, but that's a big black community, and they have real good football teams all the time too. So
he looks
kids are out of control, man.
Marlowe. Interestingly,
yeah, Jordan Marlowe. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he looks white, or maybe not a Christian white. Sorry, I crack myself up too much. That's not good. I wonder if he's part. I wonder what this guy is.
See, this stuff's been going on down here. I spoke to you about this before, man. 1,900 cars were stolen in Pinellas County, Florida, in 1 year by these punk kids.
Wow.
15 to 17 years old. Yeah, this is just in 1 year in one county, 1,900. And see, the problem is they can only keep these kids in jail for 24 days, and these kids know it.
Oh, wow. But
yeah,
nobody likes, who wants to be in jail for 24 days? You can't hold it that long. You have to go to the bathroom at that point, and then the bathroom.
Oh, no, they can go to the bathroom.
I know they can, but who wants to go to the bathroom in jail? Or, jail stinks is what I heard.
They don't care. Them kids don't care. They don't
really?
care. I mean, if they're still in a BMW or Mercedes-Benz and driving around and doing all that stuff, these are definitely not rational thinking kids.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? They're not that smart, okay? Or they wouldn't be doing this kind of stuff.
And is jail cushy over there in Florida?
Well, I don't know. I don't know for sure about that. I just know what the law states, okay? And you saw, like Mark said, 2 of those kids had ankle bracelets on, so they weren't even supposed to be leaving their home.
3 of them had a warrant. Think about that. Ages 14 to 16. They grow up fast. And you know what? Blacks also look older than they are when they're young like that. For example, who's the guy who got shot in Cincinnati or somewhere in Ohio? Tamir Rice. He looked like he was 21 or something. Like he was pretty tall. He was like this big teen. Well, he was 12 years old though, pre-teen, and I think he was pointing that fake gun or that pellet gun at people. I thought I could have sworn that I saw it, but now I go back and I can't find it. I'm wondering if I really saw it, or if they removed that footage that showed him pointing at people and backing away. Because he was pointing at people, I thought, and they called the cops on him. But anyway, wow, what a mess. So these teens are stealing cars and causing problems in Florida.
Yeah. I mean, they just go into ABC liquor lounges with big old duffel bags and start putting liquor in them and stuff, And it's all because of this deal where you don't, the same thing, a theft, it has to be over $1,000 and all that. I mean, see what they're doing is this is a big deal, they're trying to destroy this country, buddy, and they're doing a great job at it because of that. When there's no fear in people anymore, no fear of consequences, that's what you're watching, especially out there in California where y'all live, because, man, that's really messed up. All that stuff that they got. These people are stealing all this stuff and then selling it on eBay. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you? Did you catch it when I said that they stole my catalytic converter? My car wouldn't even start on over New Year's weekend. I was like sick, and so I didn't go out. I parked my car Friday evening, and I had just come home from like a trip. I went up to Oakland. I thought it was San Francisco, but it was Oakland, okay? So don't look at me weird. And I parked. I was sick from Saturday until Sunday morning, Friday night until Sunday morning. So either Friday night or Saturday night, they stole my catalytic converter. I tried to start my car. It went like a hollow sound, and then it stopped even wanting to turn over. And I had to tow it, but yeah.
Is this just recently?
Yeah, just this year. In the new year.
Boy.
So
it had them paint guns like those dudes did. It came out there with them paint guns, paintballs, and people with them paintballs.
There have been people who've been stealing catalytic converters. Like a guy was sleeping in the car where it was getting stolen, and he woke up and drove off, and the guy got run over who was underneath the car trying to steal the catalytic converter. But they're doing it to all types of cars like crazy. And I thought it was just Priuses. But yeah, the crime is out of control, but they're pretending like it's not.
And you know what the deal is? That most of them aren't white. Have you noticed that? They're not white people.
I would imagine not, yeah. Black, Hispanic, and then some whites and Asians would be like that. But yeah.
Well, but another thing is, those kids, when they got killed, they went right to hell. You know that, don't you? They went right.
No, I don't know that. I disavow that. You don't know that, man.
Man, dude, I'm
maybe they repented in that split second.
If I had $1 million, I bet $1 million on it. Okay.
Wow, you're so worldly.
What's that?
You're so worldly. God disavows you making bets. You're not supposed to bet as a Christian.
Well, I don't mean it like that. I mean it like that. I'm banking on the fact that you can't, man. You can't be doing that kind of stuff.
I mean, I agree with you on that. Yeah. But they went straight to HE double toothpicks. That I disavow. Yeah, that. You don't know, man. You're not God. How do you know they didn't?
I know what God's word says, and those are the children of the wicked one. That's why all this stuff's going down. That's why they're acting like this, because they're not godly. They're not God's children. They're the children of the devil. Okay.
Yeah, but us who who don't break the law so wildly and blatantly, we're every bit full of hell as the lawbreakers.
Not if you're covered by the blood of the Lamb and you're saved and your name's written in the Lamb's book of life, buddy. You ain't. Doesn't mean you're perfect, but that's how you're in. And it's just like these Palestine protesters. I told you that thing was going to get real bad, and it's just going to get worse and worse from here. And every time I tell you it's getting worse, doesn't it get worse?
I haven't really paid attention, but I'm with you on that. It's not like a revelation that it's going to get worse. I agree with you.
The whole world's going to come against them, man. They're going to be in. I mean, people are going to get sick of it. You follow what I'm saying? They're going to just get sick of the protest.
Yeah, and getting sick of it is not good. They're going to react They're going to react poorly, and evil's only going to continue to win.
Well, the thing I wanted to say is those protesters, those Palestinian protesters, those are the children of the devil too.
Okay? What about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, fine. I agree with you. But there's a lot of. But I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of Christians and relatively decent people who are just every bit as pro-America as you and me, who are more sympathetic to Palestine than Israel right now, I think.
I'm not.
No, I know you're not, and I know I'm not. But say, I don't know. There's people Hassan, I don't know where Hassan stands. He Palestine or Israel, or both. You love them equally, the same. Press one for Palestine. No, 1 for Israel, 2 for Palestine.
Listen, man, I'll leave you with this. This
And Hassan's a
economy's gonna
Christian.
bust.
Hassan was born Christian, by the way. America, he says. See?
America.
Yeah,
Hey,
so you see, he's not for Israel or Palestine. He's for America.
right. Well,
That's a son of
America's
hell.
going to pay for everything it did, man. Listen, you can't kill 60 million children.
Baby, you abortion?
Babies, yeah. Be so pro-abortion. All this, we got Kamala Harris down here in Florida, like you said, wanting to, juice up the Democratic base on what, for the abortion thing. You know what I'm saying? Because they know they're going to lose Florida. They're not going to win it, but they're going to try.
True.
And, but anyway, when this economy finally cracks, buddy, this time, when it finally blows, because when, I went into I'm not going to name the company, but it's a well-known sandwich place. They used to rock and roll. Every time I'd go in there, the place was packed. I went in there the other day. It was deader than a doornail, and I know why, because all I wanted was a Coke, and it was $3.41. I felt like gasped.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow.
Yep.
And whenever something like that happens, I just come right out. I told the cashier, man, we're finished. You're finished, dude. You're done. You might as well just close this place up. That's why you're so dead right now.
That's not very encouraging.
I don't care.
Wow. You're supposed to be a Christian, man. You're supposed to be like...
Yeah, tell the truth. I'm not like telling him, I'm not like, what's the word? I'm not condemning him. I'm not saying, hey, blah, 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 So anyway, listen, thanks for having me on, man.
Of course.
Have a great day.
All right, you too.
All right, buddy. Take care.
care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It's one line open, guys. It's time for Work Hard Wednesday, though, before I get back to the calls and super chats, coffees, and stories. It is Starflyer 59. He is a trucker, Jason Martin of Starflyer 59, and this is from the 1998 album, I believe, Fashion Focus, or The Fashion Focus. I drive a lot. This goes out to all you truckers. I hope you enjoy it, you musical Philistines. I know I do. I'll be right back for hour 2. Hang tight.
Talking just to waste my day. I drive a lot. Think of things I'd be. With time to kill just a lot of money. Time to kill and just a lot of money. Up, I think of friends of mine now, 35. And if you mean it a lot, talking just to hear myself, I drive a lot. Think of things I'd be. With time to kill and just had lots of money. Time to kill and just had lots of money. I think of friends of mine now, 35. Time to kill and just had lots of money.
He's a smoker. I think that's why his voice is like that. Or he used to be a smoker. Shout out to Starflyer 59. Thank you guys for bearing with me through the beautiful music. A few coffees, guys. A few coffees over on buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. Number 8 said, thanks for the clarification. Never been a stalker. Never will be. Watching these shows is exasperating, and I'm spent. I'm not going to be the last person to try to stop you. Oh, I already read that one. Oh, Esoteric bought our coffee. Number 8 from Little Rock. Thank you for correcting Hake about my username, because I used to call it Esoteric, because he puts it with a J, C, rather than IC. This one is for you, number 8. Work. Now turn to the right. Work. Sachet, Sante, Shantae. I don't know what that is a reference to. I should have searched it on this totally useless website, Google. But I don't have time to. Thank you, Esoteric, for your coffee, as always. Nice support from you. Based America First says, as part of the American... It's a dance term. It says 12 Friday. As part of the American Innovation $1 coin program, the U.S. Mint will issue a California coin in 2026. Last Thursday, April 25th, Gruesome, Trump calls him new scum, asked the public to submit coin designs. The responses can be succinctly described as burning homeless camps with blacks and illegals looting stores. The governor and the state legislature have been harshly criticized. How about voting them out for mismanaging a $100 billion surplus budget 2 years ago into a $773 billion deficit? Perhaps the $4 billion annual expansion of Medi-Cal to cover illegals fully. The untracked $24 billion for homeless programs or high taxes and crime driving businesses away contributed to the problem. Wow. What a mess. Here I thought California was doing fine, at least the rich and the government were doing fine. But it sounds like it's a mess. Mismanaged. Well, Gavin Newsom doesn't strike me as competent, nor does he strike me as attracting competence. So, there you have it. Lin Yen Chin over on Streamlabs, I believe, says, hey Hassan, have you learned how to use your abdominal muscles to flex off that fatigue in your lower back and enhance focus of your mind? Please try. Not too hard, but try. Relax for in-breath. Tighten for out. Focus on your QI. Chi. He calls it key. Double exclamation mark. He says, I've gotten worse, Lin. That's what Hassan says, Lin Yen Chin. Nice. Well, thank you for the love. As always, Lin Yen Chin. And shout out to the people on Rumble and the D-Live crew. Thanks for joining. And what's up, Bethany, over there in the Facebook crew? Joe in Phoenix, Arizona is on the line here. Joe, thank you for calling and holding there, man. How you doing?
Good morning, James. Doing well. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you.
All right. So, the other day you were saying that apartheid is a good thing.
Yeah, like apartheid for all.
Segregation.
Segregation?
Because I think, I think because if you know what apartheid is, it's one group completely controlling and dominating another group in terms of where they live, education, who they can marry. Any kind of progress in life whatsoever is completely controlled by another group, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to be in the persecuted group, correct?
I don't know if that's a leading question, Your Honor. That's a leading question. So you're saying that the white South Africans, original native South Africans, were telling the blacks and coloreds whom they could marry?
Absolutely.
Oops, I was a little late on that. So absolutely. So if if a black South African wanted to marry some other fellow black South African, a woman, and the whites would get involved in that and be like,
no, if a black man wanted to marry a white woman or opposite, of course that wouldn't happen.
oh, but that's different. That was against the law even in America at one point, miscegenation laws,
At
right?
one point, sure. Yeah. So again, that's one.
So is
group
that
telling another
apartheid?
That was part of apartheid, yes.
But I mean, that's just like how the society wanted it to be, because you're causing confusion potentially. Like, look at all the confusion and mess. I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree or disagree with miscegenation laws.
Confusion.
Isn't it?
There's no confusion in biracial people at all. In fact, the studies show that they're more well-adjusted and can move between both worlds better than other people.
Then how come you're so angry and messed up? I don't blame your genetics. I blame your parents
Right back
spiritually.
At you,
What?
Right back at you. Right back at you.
What? I'm not mixed that I know of. I might be part
No,
American Indian.
Extremely mixed up, though, in the mind.
Nice. I like that.
I still love you anyway.
Thanks.
Anyway,
So,
I'm
but
sorry,
this
go ahead.
apartheid thing, I'm not really convinced that maybe it was wrong. I don't know. But what's happening in South Africa, is South Africa worse off or better off today than back then?
It's much better off in terms of they're recreating the whole country, which is not easy. It's only been since 1994 that it was abolished. So, give some time. It's only been, 30 years? My goodness.
No, I think they were.
I
think they have gone on major decline ever since. And there was a competent communist, from what I've heard, right? There's this competent communist called, give it some time. They're like rioting and destroying their own country. There's this competent communist called Nelson Mandela, who was competent. Like, he was a communist, but he was competent. And I guess he ran the country relatively well. But these new ones are running the country into the ground.
Well, that's the news you want to see, James. There's progress there and there's setbacks there, of course. Like
Name some progress
in 30 years.
Because I can name a few setbacks in South Africa.
I'm sure you could.
There, Cape Town. A few years ago, it ran out of water. That's water mismanagement. Child-headed households.
In America too.
Well, that happens in like poorly run, black-run areas, yes, like Flint. But
gotta love the black areas, huh?
I love them. But I'm just gonna stay out of Flint. Child-headed households. The parents are dying off. They have HIV everywhere. That's I don't think that was as prevalent under the white rule. Maybe it would have happened anyway. I don't know. Crime, homicide rates. The homicide rate of the whole nation of South Africa, year after year, at least the last time I looked was a while ago, is as bad as any of our worst cities. It's like 38 per 100,000, which is a very high homicide rate.
James. When you keep a segment of the population in extreme poverty with no education and limit everything about their lives, and then all of a sudden they're free, there's going to be some growing pains. Absolutely.
You're calling that growing pains. You're a communist. You're a communist. How is that growing pains? That's not growing. That's destruction. That's self-destruction. And you're acting like, oh, these are just poor innocent victims. No, they're criminals, and they're out of control. And the communism has been the destruction. Communism is what they became, right? They became communists.
No, they did not become communists.
Yeah, they did. They're a communist. These are communists.
That is not communist, James.
Yes, it is. It's communist.
No, it isn't.
Communism is what the media is. It's what the anti-white thing is. And it's what this diversity stuff is. Anti-white? Oh, blaming whites for racism when everybody's racist.
Okay,
but only blaming whites for racism. When whites are the least racist.
I don't know about that, but
it's a fact.
We can agree that everyone can be racist, absolutely.
But I don't even agree that anybody's racist. It's just what people are called racist is what is being normal. preferring their own, stuff like that. That's like stuff that people have a right to do and be. And so you clamp down on a country for running a country the way
the color, right?
What's that?
You say you shouldn't be into your whiteness or blackness or anything else. You're saying, right?
I'm saying that you should be free to be whatever you want to be. You could be into your whiteness, and that's fine.
That's a change. You guys have always said you shouldn't be into your whiteness or blackness or anything else.
I know, but I'm for people being free to be into whatever they want to be into. You're for You're for imposing the government imposing on the whites freedom to be into their whiteness, which is playing God. That's being mama.
What are you talking about?
You're for anti-discrimination laws. You're for all these other mama spirit communist things. You're laughing.
You said the word communist. I don't know how many times so far.
Because it's what it is. It's
nonsense.
Yes, it is.
Absolute nonsense. I don't think you even believe what you're saying. You're just trying to be provocative. Anyway,
it's not provocative. It's the truth.
No, it's provocative.
No, because you lie through your teeth. You act all sophisticated.
Says the guy who said Obama didn't never cut taxes. Okay.
You act like you're all sophisticated and factual and even keel, but you're not. You're a communist. You're for the destruction of the freedom of speech. You're pretending like South Africa is somehow better than they were 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and they're not. South Africa is
the fact that one group of the population is no longer being brutally, and I mean brutally oppressed, means it's better by default.
By brutally oppressed, you mean like necklacing? They're not necklacing people anymore. It's not
done on both sides.
It's not communist necklacing, black communist necklacing fellow black communists or fellow blacks who like the whites a little bit. Putting tires filled with gasoline around their throats and setting them on fire.
Atrocities on both sides, James.
But you're talking about brutal destruction. It's they're brutally oppressed. They're oppressing themselves with murder through the roof, AIDS, HIV, or whatever, and child-headed households. And you're thinking that it's better. Oh, it's just growing pains. That's communism. You're lying.
It's absolutely not. Things will keep improving there. Things will get sorted out.
Things have not improved at all over there.
Sure they have. Again.
No, they have not.
The fact that one group of the population is no longer being oppressed and they have rights and they have representation in the government, that's all progress.
The whites do not have representation in the government. They're being attacked like crazy. They're being murdered and tortured in their farmlands. There's hatred spread everywhere. And you want to just be in denial about it. You just want to be in denial about it.
That's nonsense. You're making up stuff just to try to be provocative again.
I'm not making up anything. Where do you think I'm making up that people are being tortured, that farm owners are being tortured and hunted down in South Africa? You think I made that up?
You didn't care that was when it was happening to the black people under apartheid. Now it's a problem.
I was a little kid, so now you're admitting that it is happening. So you're admitting that it is happening. It's not me making something up.
I never denied it. You're making
no, you said I'm making it up.
No, you are.
Oh, you are. And then you said you didn't care when it was happening to blacks. It wasn't happening to blacks the way it's happening to the whites.
Yeah,
you're a communist. See, you're a communist.
Know nothing.
A communist will accuse whites of doing what the blacks are doing to the whites.
You know nothing as usual, James. You're like Jon Snow. You know nothing. Anyway.
That's communism. That's just keep on lying. Just deny. You're like Obama. You just lie with a smile and you just turn around and lie some more.
Yeah. Look at the numbers of
Do you know who Idi Amin is?
Initiative.
Do you know who Idi Amin is? Do you know who Pol Pot is?
Of course, yes.
If you were a bit more subtle, I might believe you weren't a staged caller, says Crichton Hendren. Oh, Lord. No, of course, nobody can really be the caricature of total ignorance that this fellow exudes, says Crichton Hendren. He thinks you're an actor. He can't believe that you're being as thick-headed and stubbornly in denial of reality as you are.
I'm sure he's an Alex Jones fan. Anyway, I know you don't like HBO, but there is a great special, a great comedian special by the name of Alex Edelman. The show's called Just for Us. and I was watching it, and it's hysterical, and it really struck me that that's exactly what I've been trying to do with you and Jesse for all these years. He's a Jewish guy who went to a white nationalist meeting in Queens, New York, and he went there to listen and learn, and to try to empathize with these people. And if you watch the show, you'll hear a lot of stuff they say there said by you and some of your college and all that, and him trying to listen and deal with that. And then he eventually gets found out to be a Jewish guy and kicked out of the meeting. But it's fascinating to watch.
You know what's funny is that there's a movie from the 90s called American History X that in which the whites will say something that's true about immigration in the country and the destruction, and then the whites that are portrayed in this unchristian anti-white movie will say, "Now let's go kill them," or do some evil terrorist act. But what's interesting is that everything that they were saying was true, and so it sounds like what you're talking about, that the whites who are angry, who are maybe going to do some terrorist thing, like there's a few whites who might do some terrorist thing, they're right at what they're saying. They're just wrong for being angry. But you want to pretend like you want to pretend like, oh, I hear the same thing. The Nazis said the sky is blue, and Hake said the sky is blue. Therefore, Hake sounds just like a Nazi. That's basically what you're doing. Communism.
You can rationalize
Communism
it that way
again.
if you want to. James, you can call me a communist until the cows come home. It doesn't make it true.
Nice. You're a JLP listener confirmed.
What are you talking about?
Till the cows come home.
Is that what he says? I don't remember him saying that.
Now you're lying. Now you're trolling me.
Okay. All right. Well, last thing, the Himmler. I think last time I heard, I haven't been able to listen for a while. I've been trying to revitalize the Bee Project, but I caught one thing he said that Himmler was a real man. Here's the reason why I chose Himmler to describe that to a certain caller rather than the other one. Because when the war was done, when the Soviets had finally invaded Berlin and in the last days of the war, Himmler tried to dress as a regular soldier and slip away in the crowd. Well, the Brits found him, even though he had cut his hair and changed his uniform. And when he got found, he had hidden a cyanide capsule in one of his teeth, and he bit down and killed himself instead of facing the justice of him being a war criminal and a slime bag. So he was a coward and a scared little rabbit who never faced a day in combat himself. So he wasn't a real man. He was a scared little rabbit, coward, and that's why I chose to call a certain caller the same thing, because that's exactly what he is as well. So he's not a man. He's exactly what he was, a coward. And please go ahead and research that, and you'll see that what I'm saying about Himmler is correct.
Well, aren't you a judgmental little brainwashed communist?
Communist.
Yeah, because you're just promoting World War II propaganda that I don't know and I don't care.
Yeah, so the guy
because you and Mark are right about each other. Did you know that Mark is right about you?
Mark is 100% inaccurate about me and everything he said.
But you're right about him. How are you right about him, and he's wrong about you? How does that make sense?
Because I can give actual evidence and proof of the things that I say. Nothing he says about me is accurate or true in any way.
Most of what he says about you rings true. He says you're a snake, you lie. Both of those things are true. You're he's
according to you.
Well, he did say something that I have to disavow. He said you're a mutt, and I disavow that, even though that's like a the fact. If you want to be nasty about it, I guess.
Could not care less about anything that idiot says, because he's again, I guarantee.
Then how come you say idiot with such feeling?
Because that's what he is. There's no feeling there. You're reading into that.
You've spent like 3 minutes on this topic. You've spent. You had to call him Himmler, whoever that is, and real man or coward, and I think you do care what he says and thinks.
It's fascinating because I rarely bring this up. I just want to explain the whole Himmler choice.
Yeah.
So when he calls in, he spends his whole call begging and pleading with you to get me banned.
Did you know that
So,
today is International Communist Day?
I'm not surprised you know that because that's what you are.
Big Bump, you're calling me that now. Big Bump told me that. He's who is both a listener of my competitor and of Hake. So that's a smart man. That's a smart black man.
Your competitor won't be there much longer. The bankruptcy laws will run out eventually.
That's so evil. You shouldn't wish such ill will against your fellow Christian man, Alex Jones.
I'm just stating a fact. He's not a Christian at all.
Oh yes, he is.
The man tried to destroy lives using evil, extreme evil. He's the communist, and you supporting him as communist as well.
That doesn't make any sense, man. I gotta run. Nice talking with you.
You too, Hake.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye. Of Air and Sea, of Air in Sea, Aaron, I call him, out of Utah. How you doing, man? Thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, my brother? I wanted to call to contribute to that catalytic converter conversation. But first, I just gotta commend you. I mean, you sure have become an expert at sniffing out these commies. I tell you what.
You really think so? Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Oh yeah, props.
Are you
to
trolling
my
me?
brother. No, I'm being dead serious. I think when I first started listening to you, you're kind of like lukewarm, kind of neutral, really friendly, and now, you still maintain your composure, but yeah, I mean, being able to sniff out these commies is a big, because a lot of people don't even know that they're commies,
right? They themselves don't know that they are communists. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, and you had mentioned, was that you that mentioned the $100 billion surplus that went to a deficit?
Yeah. Wow.
To pay for whatever. It's like, that's communism. You're taking from some people and giving to another.
Right. Yep.
I mean, taxation itself is communism. But anyway, man,
yeah.
I was calling to, contribute to that catalytic. So you said you got jacked for your catalytic converter?
Yeah. While I was sleeping, some people came over and stole my catalytic converter, and my car wouldn't even start. I was lucky that they were able to find a replacement catalytic converter, because some people have been waiting for weeks from their Corolla that's like a newer Corolla. Oops, I doxed it. But yeah, crazy, huh? It's more common now.
That's probably because that's a super common car. It's probably pretty easy to get off of there. But no, I was actually calling to give us white some credit for that hustle. So back in the day, around Baltimore, there's a guy that I knew that it kind of originated, I thought, kind of as a white trash thing. I think that's who started the catalytic converter game, actually. Hey.
Stealing them and then like reselling them or getting the copper or whatever.
Whatever
is valuable.
Converter, that hustle's really similar to the copper hustle. And just to tell you like how easy it could be done was, I remember I went with this guy. I never had the audacity or the skills to do it, because you would just get a cheap metal saw and cut them off. You get under the car and cut them off. But there was this one guy I knew who I drove around a little. This was many, many years ago. I promise I'm a changed man.
Yeah. You grew up in Baltimore among the blacks. You're a white man who grew up among criminals, right?
Yeah. So being a criminal is kind of normal. It wasn't a big deal. But yeah, I used to drive this guy around, and we used to always hit up these train station parking lots around that area. And you go in there, and sometimes, we would even go as hard as they would have like a security and like a watchtower thing. In the high crime areas, they might have security and those watchtowers that extend up. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and even with security there, sometimes with security roaming around in vehicles, sometimes we would still jack them from parking lots. Right there under their noses, because
wow.
it was just a loud noise with that saw just for a few minutes. But what I didn't know that was still a thing though. I thought maybe newer car designs had changed. This is like 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
That people were on that grind, and so back then you said a Corolla for a regular car like that, I think you would get like $95 for that.
$95?
If you got one about $95, and this is back in
wow. And it cost me like $2,000 to get everything replaced. I mean, luckily I had insurance to cover some of it, and then another $600 just to like get something custom built to protect it, because the cat clamp that they sell now doesn't fit the Corollas. It's crazy.
That's wild that it costs that much. I had no idea. Yeah, the going rate back then, because what was weird was I thought it was a pretty strange hustle myself because, usually people know that you couldn't like steal certain things like taking to a pawn shop because your name's connected with it. They could run it through a system. Well, for some reason, when you took them to the recycling plants, they knew that they were stolen.
Wow.
The people that worked there that accepted them.
Yeah.
All they had to do was establish some kind of show me proof that this is maybe your vehicle or some kind of proof that you didn't just steal this. But they didn't care because I remember I went to the plant a couple times with this dude, and he, we had like 10 or more converters, and they would always accept them. No ID required or nothing like that. They just gave you the cash. And so I remember, it was $95 for like a normal car. But if you got like a nice car, let's say it was a BMW one, those you could actually get like $230 for. You can get a little bit more for.
Wow.
But they were, of course, harder to get because sports cars, even back then, they would sit a little bit lower.
Right.
They were harder to get underneath of.
Yep.
So it was hard to get them off those BMs and those nice cars. But yeah, no, I'm just surprised to hear that hustle is still alive.
This is the first. Well, okay, so a few years ago or several years ago, it was happening to Priuses. These Priuses would sound like they're like huge, loud Harley Davidsons because they would drive around with ka 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 ka. And so I thought they were only stealing them out of Priuses. And it was older model Priuses that weren't built in the way that protected them from getting stolen. But now they're stealing out of all kinds of different Toyotas. I guess Toyotas are easier to work on and easier to steal from, I guess. And
the most common, most easy to resell, right?
Yeah, right. They last a long time. Hondas and Toyotas. So it seems to be a growing and exploding little criminal business happening around the LA area. I think it happened out of somebody over in the suburbs. People I know in the suburbs happened to their neighbors and stuff. So.
Yeah, it's a kind of hustle. I didn't think it was a city type thing because there's a lot of eyes on you and stuff in the city too. I thought it's more of a suburban, maybe a suburban meth head.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same loser that's doing that is going to be the same loser that's doing the copper runs. And the reason why I know that is because back when I was doing it, the copper runs, we're kind of doing that concurrently.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, think about the. They've made it tougher times right now, so everything is expensive. People are holding on to their cars longer. The economy is not great. People aren't working, and they're soft on crime. And people don't care about their neighbors, and they don't care about one another. And if a car alarm is going off, people just get annoyed and ignore it. So nobody cares about anything, and so it only makes sense in a pro-crime urban area for, middle of the night crimes like that to happen.
Well, yeah, because there's the no snitch policy
that too, yeah.
Certain demographic areas that we know. So yeah, they really wouldn't care. They would just hear those loud. It's really quick. You just have to, you cut the front and the back. The saw is just used for like a second.
Yeah.
So for the most part, it's done pretty quietly. Then you just get it and sneak away. But yeah, no, that's very fascinating. I just had to call and contribute. And
yeah,
I had to give us white folks a little bit of credit for that hustle.
So the whites originated it, and now the POCs are copying. I don't know. Maybe it's whites who are doing this in my neighborhood.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of break-ins and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I just know how it was. It was like all white trash people. They were doing a lot of fiends would be in on it. You know what I'm saying? So I had to take a little bit of credit. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm sorry that happened to you. I mean, it's really annoying when something like that happens.
Yeah.
A lot to care,
Yep, you're stuck. You got these first world problems. You have to I have to take a bus or an Uber now? What a mess. Or walk?
Yeah, I'm wondering if anyone would try that here in this state, because in the state I live now, the castle doctrine extends to your vehicle.
Nice.
So, it's treated like your crib. So I don't think you can straight up clap at somebody, but don't try that in Utah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know. Like down in Orange County, there's like this billboard that says, "We prosecute crimes," or "We prosecute theft in Orange County." So over in LA, you can shoplift to your heart's content and you'll be fine. You won't even go to jail. So, it's a
Yeah,
mess.
it sounds pretty cool. I told myself the next BLM riot, I could probably use some new Jordans. I mean, you wouldn't judge me too bad, would you?
I definitely would, I guess. Because you're a white man. You're supposed to be white on the inside, too.
I mean, some of us are scumbags, too.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, but anyway, that's all I got, man.
Thank you.
Everybody get the lights up, and good job, excellent job again on bodying that commie.
Appreciate it, man.
Anyway,
take care.
Next time, my man.
All right. Jaime in Minnesota on the line. Jaime, how you doing, man?
Doing good. How you doing, Hake?
Doing fine, thank you.
Hey, what's wrong with the blacks?
Man.
Capital B blacks.
Oh, yeah, well, for one, they capitalized the B in the word black. That's wrong. It's supposed to be lowercase b. You're not special. You're trying to make yourself special when you're at your worst. Their ego is what's wrong with them.
Yeah. Hey, I was thinking about what Mark said about those black kids.
Yeah.
Those young black men.
Yeah.
It's not in the physical blood. It's in the spirit blood.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
They grow up that way.
Yes.
Because they do that kind of stuff over down in those Latin American countries, El Salvador and all those kind of places.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot.
True.
A lot.
Yeah,
but,
you know what? In France, I was talking about France yesterday, I think, and they're blaming France for so-called racism. And there are Algerians who are acting erratic. There was this Algerian young man who, I think he got himself killed by the cops in France. And they're doing like Black Lives Matter protests. They're turning criminals into as though they're victims. And that's a terrible shame. What a mess.
And there's the communists. They're not Christians. They're atheists. Even if they say they're Christian, or I'm a Christian, but I have these communist ideas. It's not true. God and communism can't coexist. It's just impossible.
I agree with you. That's what I learned from Bill Lockwood about in his from his reports and podcasts and things. Why do you say that though?
It's like being a Democrat. It's you're accepting evil things.
Yeah.
For godly things, but those kids, they didn't go to hell. They're not a Jew.
So you're saying they didn't go to hell. You're not saying I don't know where they are.
No, they didn't go to hell.
That's
because Jesus paid for all of us. God paid it, and so we can be in hell here on earth. But after we're done, and after we're long gone and dead, He takes us back.
You think so?
Yeah. Now, don't quote me on that, everybody.
Because you sound pretty sure of yourself.
I'm pretty sure. I'll take that for myself, but you believe what you want to believe.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I would leave it as an I don't know.
I used to think that you have to accept him and all this and everything else. And I don't believe that anymore. That's a scare tactic.
I mean, there's
Catholic
definitely
Church.
scare tactic, but there are you can use facts or true statements to try to scare people, and that's not truth anymore because you're saying it, you're speaking out of fear or judgment and not love, but it can still be true even just because it's used for a scare tactic doesn't mean that it's not true.
Yeah, and you know that Jesus, the great prophet Jesus, you've heard of him?
Yeah, I did.
Said that
call him a prophet.
When he was crucified, he said, "Father, forgive them; they know not what they do." And these kids, they didn't know what they were doing. They had an evil spirit in them.
Yeah.
And those kids are just a vessel, anyways. So they returned to the Father.
I'm with you. They're just like, they have the same spirit that possesses them, possesses us. The evil. And this nicey nice evil is every bit as, it doesn't matter. It's all hell. But I don't know how you can decide Why not just leave it as an I don't know rather than
No, I don't
rejecting
know.
hell? Oh, okay.
I don't know,
All right.
but that's what I believe.
Oh, okay. But if you don't know, why have a belief about it?
Just to push the conversation forward.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
I like that. Nice, man. So, cool, man. Well, I appreciate your input on this. Quite interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of Christians, normal, more traditional Christians in the chat who are provoked into like strong disagreement by your statement. Because it sounds...
It could be.
Yeah, because it sounds sort of hippie. Not to call you a hippie, but you know what I mean, I think.
No, and those kids, they were in hell here on Earth.
Yeah.
All that emotion and anger and
so
whatever they were going through.
Yeah, so why would you think that hell after death doesn't exist if it exists before physical death?
Well, I'm sure it exists for, the fallen angels like Lucifer and such.
Yeah.
But not for humans, not anymore. There's a deal that God made. He did a sacrifice for us.
But why does the Bible says only a few will enter the kingdom of heaven, which kind of indicates that
I assume that he meant the kingdom here on Earth.
Oh. Yeah, I mean I agree that it would be the kingdom here on Earth, but I would think on Earth as it is in heaven. You know what I mean?
I don't know what he meant by that. I still haven't. I haven't found the answer to that one.
Yeah,
So
I mean it's not
means.
really our business who goes to heaven or hell. It's not anyone's. I don't necessarily think it's for anyone to say.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we got enough problems. As Jesus said, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself. You have enough trouble today. And that applies to this life versus the afterlife. A lot of the Christians get hung up on, I'm going to heaven when I die. And they may not be going where they think they're going. So.
That's right.
Nice, man.
Right,
Very interesting conversation. Appreciate you bringing that up, man.
Yep. Bye.
All right, bye. I like that. Okay. So let's talk about this cancer stuff. I promised to talk about cancer. I told you about this cancer patient who won the lottery. Oh, is Joelle scheduled? I want to schedule Joelle. Nothing to do with cancer. I'm a cancer to society. If you believe in the evil things called astrology, I disavow astrology, but I do avow astronomy. And some of you guys disavow astronomy, but we're still friends. What is Sin is the name of Joelle Friday's show coming up. And it has a picture of like a red onion or something like that. I'm not looking closely at it, so I'm probably butchering what it actually is. I'm a cancer too, LOL, lots of laughs, says Jeremy, who said that I cut him off the other day. Are you talking about with driving? I would. Oh, not paying attention. Open your eyes. So, this Laotian, Laos? He's from Laos. Laos? I don't know. He won the lottery. What does it say? I'm happy for my family. They will have a good life, said Cheng Seifhan. Saephan is his last name. Cheng, Cheng. An Oregon man. Yes, it's an Oregon man. He's Laotian, a native of Laos. But he's lived in Portland for 30 years. That's longer than some of you guys been alive. You guys were just a twinkle in your mother's eye when this guy moved to PDX, Portland. He announced he is among 3 winners of this month's $1.3 billion Powerball. So is he a Christian? You're not supposed to gamble if you're a Christian. You're not supposed to play the lottery. You're throwing away your money. But he's getting his back. He says he plans to find a good doctor and buy his family a quote-unquote dream home. They're not necessarily going to have a good life, people who win the lottery, oftentimes their life goes down the drain because they blow it. They didn't earn it. You know what they say about money? Easy come, easy go. But he's battling cancer. We wish him well, like I said. But it got me to thinking, this guy won the lottery, literally, and he's still dying of cancer. Maybe. But he might not be dying. Whatever. But to me, it's sort of a racket, this cancer racket. What should be done sooner rather than later? Asked the ladies at the skim. Mammograms. Mammograms. That's where they check the ladies for breast cancer. Right? I think. Yesterday, an influential U.S. task force recommended that all women start getting screened for breast cancer every other year, starting at age 40. That's a change from previous guidance, which said that most women can wait till age 50. The task force says the additional screenings could potentially save about 20% more lives, so they claim. The move comes amid rising breast cancer rates among young women. Doctors applauded the decision to lower the age, of course, because I feel like it's a bit of a racket. It might be good advice for some, of course, right? Because you live wrong, you catch that cancer, right? Doesn't living wrong make you more cancerous? I think. You eat too many oranges, you eat too much anything, you can get cancer. Or, I don't know, things like that. You do too much of something, you can get cancer. I don't know. Still, other health experts say the new recommendation doesn't go far because it doesn't call for yearly breast exams or endorse additional screenings for women with, this is too graphic, dense, I'll just call it dense tissue. Dense spray tissue. It's hot in here, I'm getting sweaty. Which can make cancer harder to detect. Huh. That's sort of like you're going to HE double toothpicks. It's sort of like a fear-mongering thing, you know? Doesn't it feel like a fear-mongering thing? They want you to have a fear. Because they give you stuff that gives you... Cancer is inevitable. It's one of the aspects of that drive aging, says Lin Yen Chin. Yeah, it's kind of like, well, what's his name? Well, I said too many oranges because that's what my science teacher said. You can get cancer from having too many oranges. You know, oranges, vitamin C, it's probably good for you or whatever. But yeah, Norm MacDonald said everybody dies of that. I mean, it's one of the common things. I guess your cells start to go out of control. American Cancer Society Relay for Life. There's a large fundraising movement dedicated to ending cancer as we know it. Join a walk in your local community to celebrate cancer survivors, honor the loved ones lost, and fight back. Women. What a women thing. Shout out to the women, but they seem lost to me. They make money on the screenings, you know, they encourage anger, and in anger, sugar and wheat cause cancer, bruh, says of Aaron C. Aaron. Okay, that could be. You have it already. Don't let them diagnose you to destroy your health. You have cancer already? I do too, says Flat Earth Victory. And he may know what he's talking about, actually. Government ending cancer as we know it will make it worse. Yeah, I mean, they encourage anger and emotions. And in anger and emotions, you're like, I need some sugar. Or I need some alcohol, which turns into sugar. Or does sugar turn into alcohol? Whatever. It's not good for you. Alcohol nor sugar. Nor like too much wheat or whatever. Or gluten or something. Stress on cells cause cancer, says Anointed Drifter. Yeah. Where is our resident health expert? I saw Lisa around here somewhere. It is a bit of a racket, Hake, she says. You have breasts too, Hake. You can say it. They just aren't enlarged. Whatever, Lisa. I'm pretty strong. Yeah, that's why they call it the breastplate of righteousness. Stay abreast of the situation. That means, you know, it's basically just your chest. Nice. So, overcome the anger and fear, I say. And then, like, be kind of healthy. Last quick point. I got to get to this story. Paleo diet. A study reveals the insight in what Stone Age humans really ate. This is from CNN. It might not be true. I have some screenshots of, like, this headline and stuff. Paleo diet? You know how paleo diet is just meat? No, something? I don't know. People accuse me of having the paleo diet like a decade or so ago. But they actually, new research on paleolithic group called Ibero-Maurasians, hunter-gatherers, who buried their dead in Taforalt Cave in what is now Morocco between 13,000 and 15,000 years ago, if you're not a young earther, is adding to a growing body of evidence that challenges the notions human ancestors predominantly relied on meat. They did eat meat. It's in the Bible. It's a fact. But they also ate plants. Plants were the primary source of dietary protein per a tooth sample, if you believe it. That tooth looks nasty, though. Show the tooth. This is a nasty looking tooth. That is ugly. Ugh. Which tooth is whiter? Hake's teeth? Mine are kind of like bright mung-colored yellow. Or that tooth. Of course, that tooth is old, right? Supposedly a human tooth. Shows severe wear and caries or cavities. Wow. Terrible. So, candy corn is... Oh, candy corn is so good. It's not good for you. It's just good tasting. Yeah, so... fermentable starchy plants, such as wild cereals or acorns. Acorns? You're not supposed to eat acorns? That's poisonous, I heard. So anyway, this is sort of an in-your-face to CJ in Texas, who spouts off the gospel of meat and fat, and maybe a little bit of what is that stuff that the Koreans eat, that the Germans also eat? What is that stuff? Cabbage. It's fermented cabbage. Or something cabbage. I'm blanking on it. Sauerkraut. Kimchi. But anyway, no, I actually believe that there's something to, or I suspect anyway, that there's something to CJ, his points. The carbohydrates, they're not that good for you, and stuff like that. All right? So, but yeah, in the Bible also, Old Testament, I'm done with that one. That's an ugly jaw. Thank you, Hassan. In the Old Testament, not Daniel, maybe Daniel, but Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, those boys who wouldn't bow down to the false god under King Nebuchadnezzar, they ate only vegetables, whereas the other supposedly wise men ate choice meats, and they got all sickly, whereas the guys who only ate vegetables, supposedly, whatever that is, they looked great. They had good color and everything. Nice. So, I guess moderation in everything. Don't eat too much of anything. And I think I might not be so bad for eating vegetables with my food. Guys, we're at 5 minutes till, which is 10 till. I have to wrap things up. Joel Friday TV is going to come up next. Let me just double check for any remaining super chats. I'm pumped up because it is Wolf Eyes Wednesday, and you guys seemed to find Wolf Eyes remarkable last time, okay? This is from the 2004 album Burned Mind by Wolf Eyes. It's noise. It's noise. And it's called, you might want to run away, kids. It's called Stabbed in the Face. I hope you enjoy it, you musical Philistines. Adios, America. Bye. 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 It's not Christian, this too. Not sorry, but forgive me. Isn't it kind of cool? Or is it beta? My nose is bleeding. I feel like I'm being stabbed in the face. It's not necessarily devilish. Get your alpha jerky. My octopus is happy. Adios, America. Oh, you thought it was over. Good Lord, please make it stop, hey? Joel Friday coming up next, guys. It has a beat. It's beta. The sound of Hake's mind during silent prayer.